Hey there, welcome to Rise and Shine with Alissa. My name is Alissa Bakar, the consultress, and I am your hostess for this podcast. In the age of disruption, in the age where everything's new, nothing is normal unless we choose to close our eyes to it. We want to bring you some tips and some conversations from the front lines of innovation from people that I'm meeting all over the place because I have an eye for creating value. And I love connecting with people who are passionate and real in this world. So I want to introduce you all today to my friend, Molly. Hey, Molly, welcome to
Uh,
Rise and Shine.
Hi, good morning. Well, afternoon for you.
Yeah, well, this episode here will be the first business style that we'll be launching in 2024.
Wonderful.
So, I want to just say thank you for being here. We launch every Monday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Mhm.
And what we're up to in this conversation is I met Molly in one of those virtual Zoom networking spaces. Somebody that I met in another Zoom networking space who I really felt a zing with said, "Hey, you need to meet Molly." And so I did. And the 4 or 5 conversations that we had gotten the privilege of having together just found us like, oh, we are soul sisters.
Right, yeah.
So for business, let's tell the world who you are and what you're up to. And then we'll talk about, the reason why I love you.
Yeah. So I own a bookkeeping and consulting company and kind of came after a long time of doing a lot of different things in a lot of different industries, never knowing where I was and what I was doing and bringing all that information together to help business owners. And big piece of what I do is a lot of connecting with people, and I know pretty quickly too when I meet somebody if it's going to be a good connection. I think it was very hard for us to get off the phone that first time and the second time.
And the third time.
Just like, and it's like every time we had to miss a connection because something came up and one of our lives, it was like, no, I really, really wanted to talk to you today. And just, when you walk away from a conversation with somebody, just feeling fulfilled and knowing that someone's got your back, someone you've never been in a physical space with, never gotten a chance to, hug or be around or anything like this. Like, I just know, that you've got my back. So, and I love that about what I get to do. And I get to connect with people all over like that. And I get to do the same thing with clients. And that's a great space to be where I can support them and hold them and, and be that for them too. So
Hmm.
that's what I do and why I love it.
And so the great Carol Cho, who was
Oh,
on my
yeah.
podcast just a couple of episodes ago, is the reason why we got connected.
Yeah.
And I do believe that in specifically in the area of finance,
Mhm.
this is the new upcoming what should be and what will be normal is that human connection and that bonding of
Yes.
how you create your trust and who
Yeah.
you allow to help you, especially in that ooey gooey space of finances where
Right.
sometimes you get to feel real naked. Um,
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
someone who has the bandwidth to know that you're hug worthy and connect and say, I've got you, like that is the baseline of how I really, how I measure all of my professional connections. And isn't that upside down? Don't we have this assumption that who we connect with professionally has to be
Yeah. Button up. Here we go. Yeah. No, it's and what I realized too is that I work with an end of life doula, and she is, just wonderful. And she's, talking about the heart work she does. And I was like, dude, I do heart work too. And that, having that moment, having that recognition in that moment that, yeah, what I do is heart work because I help people feel more comfortable and less judged and less stressed. And, and there's also this aspect too, because yeah, like you said, this is the new way this financial space is going. We have an awful lot of correcting to do. And I have regularly have to sort of, be that bridge or be, almost that apology for the financial services industry, be the amend for my industry to help people to trust us again,
yeah.
to trust our word, to trust what we're going to do, and that we do have their best interests at heart. They're not just, a paycheck that we're going to do what we say we're going to do. And that's hard. We butt up against that a lot. And I hope that it continues to change, because I think there's a big reckoning happening. A lot of it, I think there's a big influx of women into the financial services industry. There's a big influx of moms. There's a big influx of, middle-aged women who have been super career focused their whole lives and now need to take care of aging parents and need flexibility to be there for the people who were there for them when they were kids. And so they're starting to get into more of this freelance space, this virtual space, this heart space of, I'm going to be here to help. I'm going to share my experience, and I need to do it in an environment that allows me to live the life that I need to live. And so I definitely think that has a big impact on the industry as a whole, is just, that sort of that influx of that feminine energy, and the acceptance of that is huge as well. And so, shout out to all the dudes in the industry who just, allow that, and who are like, yep, cool, we're feminists, we're awesome, this is great. And, you know, don't make us show up and justify our basically right to exist in that space because of our genitalia. And like, it just, so yeah, I think there's a big shift in the industry for sure. Yeah.
I love what you said about, it's heart work and it's um, making peace on a very primal level.
Yeah.
It's allowing people to feel seen, heard, and accepted in a way that is very feminine.
Yeah.
I will agree with you on that part. Is,
Mhm.
we are emerging from this industrial age where humans were treated like pieces of machinery inside of a bigger machine, and
Mhm.
not on purpose, but just as a kind of outcropping of the way society's been in the last couple hundred years.
Mhm.
And the age that we're in right now, and I think I've talked about this on other episodes, about we're on the cusp of the most highly humane and highly technological society humankind's
Right.
ever seen. And
Yeah.
what does that actually mean? Where does that actually show up? And
Mhm.
I love what you said about it being a place of heart work and being
Mhm.
the mender, the healer
Yeah.
of these bonds that have created a gap. They've
Mhm.
created discord. They've created some disconnection or distrust, a lot of dis words, huh? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that feminine energy has a lot to do with partnership. And so, a lot of folks think about feminine and masculine energy as opposed.
Mhm.
I don't think that's true. I
Yeah.
think it is very much about bringing them closer together and figuring
Mhm.
out how to honor the differences and
Mhm.
making one whole thing out of those differences because
Mhm.
we leverage each other's strengths. And
Yeah.
that was one of the most powerful conversations you and I had together about using our connections and being able to partner with one another in order to create something valuable
Yeah.
together. And that to me is, it's kind of the reason for these conversations at large, is to show
Mhm.
how people are coming together, to show how people are resolving differences, how people are coming together from different walks of life and making value happen because of those differences, not
Yeah.
like whitewashing and saying nope, everybody's the same, because that's just not freaking true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like coming to the table with this energy of like,
Mhm.
I'm unique and also I see myself in you. Like having both of those things is very feminine. It's,
Yeah.
holding the space for differences as well as seeing the commonalities and the places for connection.
Right.
Um, oh God, I could go on all day about that connection and
Yeah.
collaboration.
Well, I think it's, it's interesting because a couple of thoughts came to me while you're saying that, is I think about some of the, like one-to-one meetings and stuff I've had with, and this is gonna probably sound sexist in its own ways, like with, the straight old white men, who are kind of starting to get to that, retirement age and stuff like that. And it's like having a meeting with them, it's more like, okay, well, this is how I would use you, or how could, what could you do for me, or what could you do for my clients? And sort of in this new space, this again, this space of like, yeah, masculine and feminine, they are not disparate, sort of concepts. There is a reason why, in every single, early culture, there has to be this balance of both, because there has to be a balance of both. We have to have the balance of hormones in our own bodies, like it's very ingrained in us to have that balance. But as more people are starting to recognize too, they're like, yeah, we have to put more of ourselves into this. We have to put more of, this idea of sort of like a greater sense of this greater community sense. And so it's, it's more with males, females, like it's just, it's more that general energy now. And it's the walking into the conversation, not like, how can you help me? What can you do for me? What can you do for my clients? It's, who are you working with? Why do you love working with them? Listening and really listening to those conversations with people too. And that's where so much of that great collaborative space comes from, because as you're listening to how somebody else helps their clients or walks into a situation, you start to realize those pieces that are similar to what you're doing. And that's where it's like those immediate sort of collaboration ideas come, like, I'm helping clients in the same way, but in a different industry. So how could we find a way to, again, offer something that has a greater value by melding these things together, by bringing them into the same space? And who else could we also bring into this space who's helping clients in the same way, or who's coming at this situation in the same way? And how can we add that piece of value? And so I think it's just this general openness too of our conversations in business are changing. It's not sales. It's not what you can do for me, which is why I'm very picky about the sort of networking events I go to. I don't want to do speed networking or anything like that. I want connection. I don't want to hear what you're selling. I want to hear who you are, why you're doing it, why you love doing it, and how that translates to you being the best at what you're doing. That's
Yeah.
what I want to know, because that's how I can sell you to other people. I don't need to know what you're selling.
Yeah.
I can see that on your business card, like, I want to know how you're doing it. That's the most important. And I think there's so much more of that happening.
Yeah.
And that's really the big piece of this shift in the business world too.
Yeah. I will say that the networking that's evolving now is the most interesting and rich that I have ever seen before. I think I've got some masterminds. I do pop-up masterminds to help kind of allow people to connect in a deep way really quickly,
Yeah,
but to walk away a different person because they have
absolutely.
received and they have given. And so creating that acceleration space at the same time as honoring the depth, it's a skill that I have learned to try on and I've developed over time because I think the world is hungry for that type of connecting. So
Yeah,
networking, if you look at the word in a technological sense, networking is a bunch of cables and some impulses and everything's happening really fast. And that was kind of the first iteration for me in my exposure to networking was get in there, get a bunch of business cards and walk away. And then what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? And now the spaces, like being very intentional about the spaces I curate and that I attend, wanting to know when I walk in the door, what I want to know, less so than what everyone does, like you said, is who they are, because not everybody's for everybody. And I think the what can you do for me energy is all like using it in a very industrial context of like, what is your function?
yep,
And while there are bookkeepers aplenty,
yep,
there are business coaches aplenty. You know, when I talk to someone, it's do I feel connected to you? Because that's the only way that I can deliver my value is if I feel a connection. So now when I walk in those networking rooms, I'm looking for people whose energy or people whose vibe, right,
right.
matches the kind of energy or the kind of fun that I like to embody because those are the people who are attracted to me is my specific blend of intentionality
Mhm.
and fun.
Yep.
And I love when people are fun and deep in finance. Like those are the people that get what I'm up to, that my clients are going to be like, oh, please open the door, you know?
Yeah. Well, and there's that, it's funny because I've had so many people be like, "Well, you're not an accountant." I mean, I have an accounting degree. I mean, that's my history. I like the bookkeeping, the deep down transactional piece way more than sort of that higher level bookkeep or the higher level accounting. I prefer to go that higher level and, and do coaching again, like just pulling that information instead of just giving it to you. Like, how do we make these numbers now go into a new action? Like, that's what I want to do, and that's so much more than accounting. But there's just this idea, accountants are just so dull and this and that. Like, yeah, I geek out on spreadsheets. Like, I love creating amortization schedules for like weird ass loans that don't even make sense. And like, and I'll spend hours doing it with this dumb smile on my face. And like, just it's like wasting time. It's like somebody playing a video game. Like, I totally wasted a whole bunch of time, but man, that was so cool. And like, it's like geek out on that stuff, but that's good because a lot of people don't. So like we need that. But yeah, also I'm kind of a big person. I'm a big deep human, but yeah, I love that deep idea too. Like I don't want surface stuff. Like I want to jump in and know your deepest, darkest secrets in our first call because like I just don't have time. I don't have time for surface level relationships. If I'm going to give my energy, because I'm a mom, I might homeschool my kid, the hours I give to my work are hours I don't get with my kid. So if I'm going to give you time, I want you. I want big, deep pieces of you. I want to like bite off hunks of your history and your soul and just sit and swim in them with you. And if I can't do that with my clients too, it's just like, and then I mean our whole relationship isn't like that, but it's that start, it's that build. And then yeah, then we just kind of take care of the stuff for them. But when they need that person, when they need to be in that space, they know they can come and be in that space with us and it's a safe space to be. And so it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Isn't
don't
that
do surface
wild?
stuff. Yeah, right.
Look, I just want to honor you for taking bites out of humans, not
Right.
accountable. It is in the most loving way. And that's what I
It
freaking love
is,
about you.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people are going to see when you were just talking about like being with people and the way that serves you, the way that you can be of service best. Like, wow, look at all the fireworks that just went off. You just like totally mollied that up. So, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's like to work with some of this,
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
it's
such
important.
goodness.
It's just yeah, it's important stuff. I mean, we have to support each other in this world. And like we all have different skills. We all have different things. We all get fired up by different stuff. And
Yeah,
the more we just like reach and find, and our communities are so much bigger now. My
yeah.
community is all over, the country and in other countries. And like it doesn't have to be limited to my small space anymore because we have this connection. Let's use these big connections we have for good.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's,
We got
it's
to use them for good. And I'm
right.
going to just tease out a little bit of what you said. That is one of my main value
Yeah.
propositions is I'm a mom. I don't have time for stuff that's going to waste my time, right?
Yeah.
When I started homeschooling my kids, I did so for 6 or 7 years. And it was incredible the amount of focus that was required because I'm like, I literally have to split myself in three. I'm a wife, mother. I'm also a homeschooling parent, and I'm a business owner. Okay, so there's nothing like the amount of focus that that kind of environment demands. So parents in general will kind of get a lot more intentional. You ever hear when you're a teenager or an early 20 something, people saying, that person got a girlfriend or boyfriend and now we don't see them anymore. We have this illusion that we have unlimited time. And then we get a partner, we're like, "Ooh, actually, I need to carve out some time for this. So I will,
Yeah.
take it from other places." And then we have children and it's like, "Wow, I thought I didn't have time before this. Now I have like none." But it's not none. It's you get really clear about where to invest your time. And this act of like being intentional and
Yep.
spending time where it's most valuable to you, where you get the
Yeah.
most reward. Like the whole world just went through this in the last couple of
Oh
years.
yeah.
It's like, holy crap, I don't have all of this mishigas going on in my life.
Mhm.
I'm home with the people I care about. So when it's time to go back to work or it's time to re-engage in the world, maybe there's a few other things that I was taking as assumptions that I want to more intentionally build now into my life. I
Yeah.
want to telecommute. I want to attend virtual networking events all over the country so
Right.
that the people who I resonate with are the only people that make it onto my calendar.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so whether you're a parent or a business person or not,
Mhm.
this act of prioritization of getting very clear and
Mhm.
intentional is what makes things more valuable. This is the very
Mhm.
concept of less is more.
Mhm.
because we're not wasting our time. And well, wasting, I'll kind of use in a loose term, but it's more about
Yeah,
investing our time where we're getting a return for it in
exactly.
our feelings, in our
Yes.
enjoyment, in our sense
Yes.
of accomplishment, right? And in
Yeah.
our connections. That's the number one thing that makes the
Yeah.
world go around.
Yeah. It's got to be, it has to fulfill your soul in some way. And when you hear people talk about, like, oh, if we, raise the minimum wage too much, nobody's going to clean toilets. I'm sorry. Some of the best moments I had working when I was younger and stuff were in those moments of like making a space clean, inviting, happy for other people. I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I was actually getting paid well for my time. Like
Mhm.
people will continue to do work if they feel valued and they find value in what they're doing. And a lot of people want to help other people, and that looks like a lot of different things. It
Yeah.
looks like being a doctor, it looks like being a consultant, it looks like, being a stay-at-home parent or the caretaker of your parents in their old age. It looks like cleaning toilets for other people. It looks like picking up trash in a park. It looks like all kinds of different things because we are all lit up by different stuff. It's just a matter of we just need to feel good about ourselves and we need to know that we're being appreciated.
And allow ourselves to understand that what lights us up
Mhm.
is likely not the same as what everybody else gets lit up by.
Yeah.
In fact, it's more probable and more truth than anything else we've been taught. Because
Mhm.
the way that our industrial society was structured was that you're a human, you go to work, you punch in, you screw the screw, you punch out, you go home, maybe have some family time and go to sleep and do it again. Like we
Mhm.
were taught that we're all the same because we need to go do the same thing because of the nature of the industrial society. Now that we're in the age of disruption and specialization, the fact that our humanness is the number one thing that will allow someone to choose us, it's more clear that that's always been the case. It
Yeah.
just was less useful in an industrial society, and in this technological society, it's paramount. So
Mhm.
waking back up to the fact that human connection is the thing that allows us to thrive, be successful, have satisfaction. This is the wave of the future. This is the future
Mhm.
that's here right now, that if
Mhm.
you allow it, in all the places where you feel resistance, in all the places where you feel stuck or unhappy,
Mhm.
it's most likely because you've lost connection with yourself or with the people around you. And there
Mhm.
needs to be some decisions made so that you can get that connection flowing again. So, Molly, I have had just a wonderful freaking time talking to you.
Yeah.
As always, was it ever a question?
No.
I want to allow people, I got to know you and I got to reach you. Where can people find you to learn more or connect with you?
Yeah, best place is mkbuyerbooks.com. That's got all of our information, all our links, and tells you who I am, what I'm doing, and where to learn more about me. So,
Beautiful. And in
yeah.
the meantime, keep being freaking amazing and taking huge, juicy bites out of this life
Right.
because you can tell that you live out loud on purpose. And I think the world needs more of you, more of me, and more of
Yeah.
that.
Yep, absolutely.
So, cheers. And for now, I will say adieu. Would love to have you back at some point in the future. But this has been another episode of Rise and Shine. Please remember to like, subscribe, and click the notifications, but also share this conversation with someone who you think it'll make a difference for. We're not out here blowing breezes in the wind. We're here to make an impact. So share with a friend, share with a few friends, or connect with us on social media. I cannot wait to see what the next evolution of you comes out into the world to look like. And I hope to be part of that journey with you here. So have a really great day, an awesome week, and we'll see you next Monday. Same bat time and same bat channel. See ya.